Well, hello, all my little Luxes. Welcome to another little channel of horrors. And I am your host, Charcy Lux. I am a closet cosplayer. And with me is my best friend and partner in crime, which I'm very jealous of him right now because he's on Virginia Beach. How dare he? But anyway.
Yeah, here, hold on. I'm not doing this because of a reason, but there you go. But now
Oh my gosh.
I'm in witness
You're in
protection.
shadow.
Wait, hold on, check
You're
this out. Check this out. Check this out.
I don't want anyone to know my name. I was molested. I don't know what to do here. I'm a witness in the protection program.
I kept wondering, I'm like, why do you have that close so we can't see the beautiful beach? Oh, well, then you don't exist.
I also have a light right here, all the way. I also have a light right here, so it actually lights me up. But the sunshine cancels out like all that.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, and this is DC from Death Curse Podcast.
Yeah. Everyone knows who I am. If you don't know who I am, then you've been living under a rock. Come on.
I live under a rock.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, the guy who does all the memes. I'm like, yeah, I do all the memes. Thank you. But whatever. Yeah, people get over it. But
you are the meme guy. So what was this week's movie that we watched?
I got to choose, and you're choosing like your top favorites, but I'm just choosing whatever the hell I want to watch at the moment because that's me. And I wanted to watch Idle Hands because it's a fucking classic. And you were all like, oh, I've seen that. I haven't seen it in so long. And while we were watching it, you were like, I haven't seen this. I could have swore I've seen it because I'm like, I knew who the cast was in that. And maybe it's like, it was just in my head, but we're watching. I'm like, I have never seen this, but I will flat out tell you, it is now one of my favorites. It is good. I don't understand how this wasn't bigger. And then you told me the reason why. And I'm like, well, shit, because this would have been it. This really would have. This would have overtaken everything that came out in 99. Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Unintended.
I mean, it's Devon Sawa. I think this may have been like, I'm not 100% sure, but this is like his movie where he finally got out of the teen heartthrob thing and went into just doing movies that he wanted to do. And it's a lot of fun. He's actually gone on record saying that this is one of the most fun he has ever had making a movie. The table I'm on is really wobbly, so anytime I touch it. But anyway, but this was his chance, and it would have been his chance to break out. Luckily, he had Final Destination because Final Destination was his breakout movie for this era of Devon Sawa. Probably Casper would have been his breakout movie, or that one he did with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. But as you can tell, I'm a huge Devon Sawa fan. I freaking love that guy. He's a phenomenal actor. He still does great movies. If anyone watching hasn't seen Hunter x Hunter or The Fanatic, The Fanatic has John Travolta in it, and it's directed by Limp Bizkit's Fred Durst. And I watched that movie, and God, if Devon Sawa was watching this, and I was like, this is going to be one of the shittiest movies because it's directed by Fred Durst, and it is fucking phenomenal. It is so good. And Devon Sawa plays one of the best douchebags I have ever seen. And it's like, this is so great. But the reason why Idle Hands didn't work is because it came out 10 days after Columbine. And the movie does feature a high school student murdering other high school students. So it just didn't click well with the audience. They should have moved it, but the director and the studio was, no, we have to keep this date. This date is important. And well, Columbine, it would have been good without Columbine because it's just the whole nation. That was it's not like now where you hear that there's a school shooting and it's like, oh, another one. Okay. Yeah. But Columbine,
that was the first.
Yeah, so. that was the big one. And didn't work. So I mean, imagine if like Columbine had happened in like 76 when Carrie came out, it probably would have hurt Carrie too. But
people were thinking it was poor taste, and I kept trying to think, and I'm like, I get they're high schoolers. It was because of the ending, because of the the dance at the gym. They were actually at the school. So,
and the thing is that the high school or Devon Sawa's character is not the one killing. Anton is not the one killing. It's his hand. It's like his hand is possessed. And we were watching the movie the whole time. You're like, just cut it off. Just cut it off. And I'm over here like, you'll see why that's a bad idea. He finally cuts it off and the thing goes off on its own. Fun fact, the hand that was used to move was the thing from Addams Family. So, which
I had gotten this up because you know how bad I am with names. Christopher Hart.
Yes.
Which, knowing that, I'm like, that's really cool. But you know, I mean, he's a hand actor, so might as well.
Yeah, I mean, it and weirdly, like ridiculously good cast. It's like, I mean, because you're going through the very Seven-esque credits opening, and it's just, man, everyone is in this movie. It's like, like Devon Sawa, Seth Green, Jessica Alba, Vivica A. Fox. Like, geez, man.
And they're all just so young in it. Well, except we make the joke. It's like, does Seth Green, does he age? I mean, he looks the same.
Well, and Seth Green's the oldest one in the movie. He's the oldest by years. And it's like, he's 25 when the movie was made, and he looks younger than everybody. And I think that was when he was just starting to be Chris on Family Guy, too. So it was like, yeah, that's cool. So not a lot of people know he's Chris. So
yeah. And you were the one that had all the fun facts about this one, which, I mean, I did a little reading into it, but I noticed a lot of the stuff I read into was the exact same stuff that you had already known about it. So
yep, that was I have had the Scream Factory version, and anyone who knows Scream Factory knows they pack that crap with facts and behind the scenes and deleted scenes and everything. And that's where I found out the Go Buffalo scene was like, because that movie, when the movie came out, I'm like, why did they say Go Buffalo? It's so weird. And it's because there's a deleted scene where you find out that the two police officers were the mascot buffalo, and one of them played the front end, one of them played the back end. So when he kills them, they say Go Buffalo. It's like,
one was the head, one was the ass.
Yes, exactly. And it's awesome. And one of my favorite actors is in this movie, only for a little bit, Fred Willard. So, and I was he plays Anton's dad, or and he has a name, I forget what she calls him, but in the credits he's Dad. So,
and I think even in the credits on here, they just call him Dad and Mom, but in the specials, they flat out say that they actually have names. I think Greg and Norma, I think it was.
I don't remember, but I see Fred Willard and I get happy. And he came out. He was not the normal Fred Willard. He was more subdued, because the opening scene is actually scary. They actually do it really well, and they make you think that this movie is going to be this terrifying possession movie. And then the very next scene is, okay, this is going to be
here's the comedy.
I mean, you have him waking up in his bed and he's got the headphones on and a song's playing. He pops off the headphones, turns off the radio, picks up the Walkman, puts on the headphones, and clicks the tape player, and he's playing the exact same song. All right. So, and he lives in the attic, and you were like, wait, they put him in the attic?
How does Anton not notice?
Headphones. So there are a lot of unexplained. The best though is all these people he killed, why did Penub and Seth Green's character, why did
Mick?
Mick. Why did Penub and Mick come back as zombies and no one else did? And they explain that away so fast in such a bad way, but it's so funny. It's like, oh yeah, we died, and there was like this long tunnel with a light at the end of it, and there was like angels singing like uncool music like Inya, and we were like, no, fuck it, that's too far. And that's why they came back as zombies. It's like, all right, I'll accept it. Let's do this.
The perfect explanation was that they were too lazy to go to heaven. So I mean, it fits their character.
Yes, it does. And Seth has that awesome bottle in his head the whole time, and Penub doesn't have a head, and he's eating while he's headless. It's like, all right, and it's just all coming out his neck. You're like,
Ugh, and it's gooey and looks
Bill
like
licks it. He's like, mm.
old ketchup. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so awesome. But it's such a good movie. I mean, there's ad-libbing scenes of God, what did Anton do whenever he smokes the nutmeg and oregano and he's trying to get a taste out of his mouth? So
the soap.
yeah, he goes to his sink, he's like washing his mouth out, grabs the soap, squirts it in his mouth, and that was Devon Sawa ad-libbing, and that was real soap. He was just like, this will be funny. Yeah. And walking, I warned you ahead of time, like when he walks into this pole, listen to the sound, because that is not sound added after post. That was his head hitting that pole because he walked into it full force. And that's just Devon Sawa being Devon Sawa. Like, God, dude.
I mean,
oh my God.
I had said, I'm like, in that moment, you're in so much shock with everything going on. You probably would do that. Well, actually, I mean, you would do that. You would just walk into something but yeah. And they said that, I think it was you who had actually told me, but I also read into it too, was that the first time they did it, they're like, oh God, are you okay? And he goes, no, we need that added to the scene. Now we have to do it again. So.
Yeah, I think that I read it. I don't remember exactly, but I think he did it several times, like walked into that pole several times until he got it the way he wanted it. And
where the crew who was offset was wondering, what the hell is that noise?
Yeah. And I'm just gonna have to like research Final Destination now to see what he ad-libbed in that, because I'm finding out that he does a lot of ad-libbing, and from what I've read, it's all makes the movie better. Like, I mean, Devon Sawa is a very, very, very underrated actor, or at least I think he is. So I
agree with that.
In I saw Final Destination before I saw Idle Hands. I didn't see Idle Hands till years down the road because I didn't know it existed. And Final Destination is where I actually found a love for Devon Sawa, because he was so good in that movie. Like, I don't know what it is about him in Final Destination. I have no idea. I've never figured it out. It's just, he's so fucking relatable in that. He is such a good just terrified running for your life kid, and he's so good in that. And then I found Idle Hands much later, and I'm like, oh wait, this is a Devon Sawa movie, I have to watch this. And man, I was so glad I watched that, because that easily became a top favorite. Idle Hands is just yes. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. It is hilarious.
I will definitely agree with that. Well, and like I said, I'm like, this one is easily now a top favorite. This is right up my alley for movies. And it makes me sad at the same time to know that this movie's not known because of what happened to it back in the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also like doing some research. I couldn't find any yes or no answer to it, but I was wondering if Seth Green may have ad-lib the Tanya lines where they're running through and the girl in the devil
I had asked that.
She gets sucked up through the fan, splatters her all over the vent, and they're crawling through the vent and they stop. He's like, yeah, I'm not going through all this, Tanya. And he's like, turns around.
Or my favorite, it's like, his friend Nub was like, I was gonna get a piece of that, and he goes, well, you can go back and get a piece of her right now.
You go back and get a piece.
Like, oh shit,
she just died.
Which funny fact, in my research, because you had said before when we were watching that two of the characters had found out later in the movie that they were siblings. It wasn't the two you thought it was.
Oh yeah.
The two who were half siblings was actually Jack Noseworthy, the one that played Randy, and Tanya. So Katie Wright, who played Tanya, they are the ones that are half siblings, which is funny because if I look at their pictures next to each other, I'm like, I see it. So luckily it wasn't the two who you thought it was.
Right after we stopped watching that movie, I went in and I was like, oh wait, no, it was Tanya. Because like right after he did the I'm not going through all this, Tanya, I was like, oh yeah, it's Tanya, that's the sister. And I was like meaning to say that right away, and then we stopped watching it and I'm like, crap, I forgot to tell her that. And I was like, I can't do it right now. But I was like,
I learned it in my reading, and I'm like, But it's pretty cool though, because I mean, as soon as I saw Randy's character, I'm like, oh, it's this guy. I love this guy.
Oh, Randy, good lord, it was cool. Like, and the John Bon Jovi look-alike, stuff like that. Just like, and he was in Event Horizon, so
He was.
he plays he has the most heartbreaking death scene in Event Horizon. So, and he's such a good actor because of that one scene. It's just, God bless that.
You know how good of an actor he is because of that scene. It's like, holy shit. Yeah.
For those who don't know, like don't remember, he's locked in an airlock and they can't open the door or else they'll depressurize the whole spaceship. And he's looking at the woman through the window going, Mama Bear, please open the door. And you're like, oh my God, my heart. He's talking to that woman who's basically his mother. Oh yeah, that's my Bushido Halloween there. Yeah, Bushido. I brought like 7 horror movie shirts. Like,
I think you showed them off on Twitter too. I think.
Yeah. I had that video like, I don't know what to bring, and I was like, holy shit, I have too many shirts the whole time. And this is like whittled down too, because I've thrown away a lot of shirts, or not really thrown away. I've given a lot to Laszlo because me and Laszlo wear the same size shirt. So it's like, here, just take them.
You're a good buddy. You're just like, here, take them.
Oh yeah, he's gotten like pants and shorts and shirts. He's got all kinds of crap from me. But in all fairness, he gave me a brand new $170 pair of shoes for free, just because I needed some workout shoes. And he was like, "Oh, I got these that don't work for me here." And I'm like,
"Yeah,
cool." And he spent the money on them too. He didn't get them on sale. He was like, "Yeah,
oh my God,
they hurt his hip or something like that." And I'm like,
"Oh wow."
Yeah, because he wears Nikes and I wear Adidas because Nikes hurt my hip and back, and apparently Adidas hurt his hip and back. So we like swap. It's like,
so wherever the cushion is on the shoe, it affects you guys differently.
I need a lot of arch support, and these Adidas have a ton of arch support, and Nikes usually don't have a whole lot of arch support. So
yeah,
but he's
well.
But yeah,
I was gonna say Laz a great guy. So.
He is. He loves Idle Hands too. So he's a big Idle Hands fan. So he'll like this episode.
Everyone should love this movie. So I mean, with this episode, if you haven't seen it, go buy it. Like literally, go put the funds into this. It is worth the buy. Yeah. And it is so good. It is. It's now one of my top favorites. Yeah. And I'm sad to say I thought I had seen it because maybe because I read Into the Premises or something. I don't know. But watching this movie, I'm like, I have never seen this, but it is good.
Did Nate like it?
Oh, good. Nate loved it, and you know how he.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's a big fan of horror movies. So
he loves dark comedies though, because he loves movies like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah. The one that we just watched the other day with our friends Jen and Tommy. I can't think of the name of it now. Boys from Country Hell.
Oh, yeah. The Boy Scouts Guide to Zombie Apocalypse.
Yes, love that one too. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yes. We still have that borrowed from a friend. We intend to give it back, but the pandemic happened, so we've just kind of had it for a prolonged time.
Just ship it to me. It'll be fine. That's what I do. Yeah, I used to, like, if I was giving something back and everyone was just like, "Oh, I'm too like lazy," I would drive by their house and throw it in their mailbox. I'm like, "There, I gave it back. Screw you." So I don't. Yeah, because Laszlo still has like 6 of my movies that he hasn't even watched. I think, because I'm like, because he was saying we were talking one day, talking about all these freaking movies, like, oh, The Revenant, such a good movie. He's like, yeah, I've never seen it. Oh, Boondock Saints, yeah, I've never seen it. Like,
he's borrowing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I was like, here, borrow mine, and he hasn't given them back yet, and that was like over a year ago. But oh man, and one of was like he doesn't like Marvel movies. He's like, yeah, I'm not a big comic book guy. But I was like, here, watch Guardians of the Galaxy, and if you don't like this, then you're not going to like Marvel movies. And he gave it a shot. He watched it. He was like, oh yeah, I'll watch it. He's like, yeah, it's a good movie. It's just not, he's like, it's just not my thing. I'm like, all right.
It's not his, which makes sense.
Yeah. So whatever, I'm a big Fast and the Furious fan, and 90% of the people out there hate Fast and the Furious. So
I've only seen a few of them, so
we are watching.
I'm supposed to go watch the new one, so
we're watching all 8 of them while we're here at the beach. We bought all 8 of the movies, and every night we watch a new Fast and Furious, so we can watch them when we get back. But yeah, man, why not, dude? And I'm sitting there like, these are fun movies. Like, I don't see how, like, why. I mean, what was it? The argument that I made was, how can people hate Fast and the Furious but love Point Break? Because it's the same fucking movie, just with surfing instead of cars. I'm like, same movie. Patrick Swayze, or Vin Diesel is Patrick Swayze. Paul Walker is Keanu Reeves. It's Point Break. And actually, Point Break is even shittier than Fast and Furious. Come on, man. They're both good movies. Get over it. Whatever, man. It's the same.
Maybe
movie.
people just had something against Vin Diesel and Paul Walker in a car movie.
Until Paul Walker died, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he was such a great actor." And he's like, "No, he really wasn't." Like, I don't give a shit that he's dead.
Paul Walker, but I love him in Joyride.
Joyride was great.
I love him from.
And Running Scared and Joyride. He was great in those movies. But dude, I even pointed it out to Michaela when we were watching Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm like, watch the last line that Paul Walker delivers in this movie, and you will see how bad of an actor he is. When he's walking next to Tyrese, he's like, "My pockets aren't empty, cuz." You're like, come on, dude. No. Oh, it was just a bad line. No, it's not a bad line. It's a good line. It's just, he delivered it really bad. My pockets aren't empty, cuz. Come on, dude.
A line delivered poorly.
Yeah, I still love that movie.
I was gonna say I've only seen the second one twice.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one, the second one only a couple times, and then I've seen Tokyo Drift because my husband loves Tokyo Drift. It's his favorite one.
We watched that one last night. That was a good.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, that, like, and that's usually, like I was telling Michaela, that's the one that everyone tends to like. Like, it's everyone likes the fifth one a whole lot, the first one a whole lot, and for some reason there is an unordinary amount of people who like Tokyo Drift. Like, oh, that's the best one. And it's like, it might be, and that's why everyone should be excited about the 9th one, because the director of Tokyo Drift is directing the 9th one.
I was gonna say, and I heard they're bringing back a lot of the characters from the Tokyo Drift one too. So that's kind of why we're thinking about watching it. Oh, we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
we're talking about the Fast and the Furious. We're talking about Idle Hands.
It's okay. No, we'll get back to Idle Hands. We'll get back to it. We always do. This is what we do. Well, we're both ADHD.
We really do. Referencing my cosplay, I'm kind of mimicking the whole Angel idea, because Jessica Alba, one of her first roles, baby Jessica Alba, but she is so freaking adorable in this movie. I can't deny that. She's just so cute. But yeah, her costume for the Halloween dance at the end of the movie was a angel, and so I think my tattered wings kind of work with the reference, because you got the zombies in the movie, but my kitty thinks she's a dog, so you should shoot the shit out of my wing.
I would think that knowing, I mean, I don't know Devin Sawa personally. I've talked to him a few times on Twitter about UFC and stuff like that, but it's like, knowing Devin Sawa, like, I know what I see, I feel like he would be very uncomfortable with a lot of the scenes he had to do with Jessica Alba, like the butt grabbing scene and all that. I feel like Devin Sawa would be very uncomfortable with that. Like, it's just the way he is. So I don't know, but she was awesome. She was sexy and cool, and just, she was this. If this would have made it big, she would have been everyone's crush a lot earlier. So, oh yeah,
I mean, it's easy to love Jessica Alba. She became my crush in Sin City. Oh my god, her character Nancy. But you are
stripper
right.
that
She
never
would have
gets
been a
naked.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She doesn't have to be naked. She is so gorgeous.
Yeah, she was great. It's just like Nancy in the comic books gets naked.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but I'm
The
like,
comics are different.
the movie was word for word the comic book, pretty much. So it's like, but you had to get Jessica Alba because Jessica Alba was the it girl at the moment. So, and she played the role part. She actually played the besides the stripper role, she played the strong survivor girl very very well.
Very well.
And the only it was, I mean, it was creepy in the comic book too, but the only part was like her being in love with Bruce Willis's character was just like, dude, he is like 40 years older than you. Actually, I think he was like 50 years older than her or something like that, because he was a weird age.
It's the point of him that he became her savior. So kind of the savior complex idea. So
and Nick Stahl was in that too. Nick Stahl was that yellow bastard. And
yes,
that brings it back to Hunter x Hunter, because if you're a Nick Stahl fan, it's Devon Sawa and Nick Stahl in the same movie. Good movie.
It's one I'm gonna have to watch because I'm like I haven't seen that one, and it's like I love both of them as actors, so definitely need to watch it.
Hunter x Hunter. It's one of those movies that kind of takes a right turn and you become something that it didn't start out being. Like you're like, it starts out being this and then it goes this way. You're like,
which is kind of what happened with Idle Hands, because there actually was an alternative ending to this one, to where they got done with it and they realized this doesn't feel like the same movie anymore. And I actually watched that deleted alternate scene and everything, and I'm like, it was good, it really good, but it's not the ending that it needed to be.
No. Well,
that they decided to go with. And I don't want to give away too much away from the ending, because I'm betting most people haven't seen this movie. So it's like, I don't want to give spoilers away, even though this is from 99.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's spoilers.
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, it's not like a shock ending. The actual ending of the movie ends just like you would think it would. Like, it's not like a big twist. It's like even Seth Green, whenever he does that, whenever they finally do kill the hand, and he's just like, "That's it." It's like, yeah, it's like
no hellfire, blah blah blah.
No.
Yeah. Which was the original alternative ending. Had the hellfire and everything, and the big antics and the demons and all that. But
that was shown in like storyboards and stuff like that. It wasn't shown like they didn't actually film it. I guess they probably ran out of money, because I would say that this thing had a very small budget. So
the scene I saw was all filmed.
It was? Okay.
So everything was together and filmed. So I'll have to, I can text you the link that I found, because I found it on YouTube.
It's on the Scream Factory set, so I have it. I just haven't watched it in so long. I couldn't, because it's like because I'm also like thinking about Freddy versus Jason, how that movie was supposed to end with both of them going to hell and then fighting in hell, and they showed the alternate ending, but it was all storyboards. It's like, you can't. We didn't film this. It's like because Freddy versus Jason had a huge budget, but we went over it really quickly. And I was like, but I mean, Idle Hands, I mean, it was all practical effects, and besides the hand, of course, but it was all practical effects and everything. And it did have some bad acting with Dexter from The Offspring. God, that's just to this day.
That was a death that was worth it, though.
That was a talking about a bad delivered line. It's like, "Hey kid, get out of the way!" Like, and he rips his scalp off. I'm like, yeah,
he gets scalped.
Yeah, because I mean, I love The Offspring, so it's like, yeah. Oh well, but I don't know.
And you had a fact about the gym, that the gym was originally from another movie.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They actually used.
I found out. Yeah, I found out.
Yeah. Oh.
One too.
Yeah, Buffy and the street that they live on was for Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was like there was a bunch of locations in that were used in horror movies, and I can't remember them all, but
there are a lot.
yes, there wasn't really any exactly homages to them, but and lots of Rob Zombie in this. Rob Zombie was in this. They listened to Dragula. They watch Nightmare on Elm Street, or Nightmare on, they watch Night of the Living Dead, and
there you go.
and Dawn of the Dead. They watch them both, which is cool. And yeah, it was like this they did good. And they do the bagel trick where he's gonna cut off his hand with the bagel cutter. He's like, man, that thing won't even cut my bagel. He's like, oh, we brought you band-aids, Anton, the ouch free kind. Cut off his hand and they're gonna fix it with band-aids. Good job, buddy.
They have a lot of like hilarious one-liners in there, and the Cheeto Puffs, I guess when they in the original scene they ad-libbed throwing them into each other's mouth. Well, I guess it was Mick throwing it to Nub. Yeah. But that part was ad-libbed. So then when they had the part with the head, they decided, well, we're gonna do that again.
Yeah. And like for a long time, I was like, that's a weird name. Penub. That's what they went with, but his name was Penub. Like, all right. And I had to find out why his name was Penub.
Making Penub.
Yeah, and it was like, and it was from a Little Rascals skit, like the
with
way
Eddie Murphy, I think it was, or was it Chris Rock?
It was Eddie Murphy. From,
okay, so it was Eddie Murphy.
Little Rascals when he played Buckwheat, and they had a like the way they sang the song, and it came from that, and I'm like, all right. Like, but it's such an obscure reference that there's no way anyone got that. So I'm like,
unless you look into it, because otherwise it's like, was Penub like kind of a reference that he was gonna lose his head later on and he becomes a nub? I don't know.
No, it was a Little Rascals.
It was Mick and Penub.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
Making love.
Yeah, it's so weird. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, if that's the way you want to play it. But I mean, I don't know. I love the name Penub, and I love that actor. So he's not in like an insane amount of movies, but the movies he's in, he's good. He's not like Seth Green, who is literally in everything. So I mean,
especially at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, Seth Green was in everything. I think he was doing Buffy at that time as well.
Buffy,
I remember.
Austin Powers. He was everywhere, and he hadn't even started Robot Chicken yet. So yeah, because Robot Chicken started
starting Family Guy. So
Family Guy. Family Guy started in '99. If you want to feel old, like that's when
you made me feel old when you said that. I'm like,
yeah, Family Guy was started in 1999. Dude, I felt old whenever I was watching Fast and the Furious and the copyright came up and it was like 1998, and I'm like, what? Like, no, that did not come out in '98. Like, I think it came out in '99. But I'm like, yeah, that I mean, it probably wouldn't have beat Fast and the Furious, because Fast and the Furious was a monster. But like, it would have been the horror movie of '99 if Columbine, you know, the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. So, I think you're frozen. Yep. But that's not. Oh, there it goes. Okay, froze for a little bit.
You keep freezing. You keep freezing.
Oh, it's why.
Probably. I was gonna say, I always know when you freeze, I just stop and I just wait till you come back. And I know it's the distance thing, because you're all the way at Virginia Beach. I'm all the way in northern Illinois. So there's a distance gap here by like 16 hours.
It's not only that,
18?
it's like this is hotel Wi-Fi. So this isn't, we are in a fantastic spot though, because we got full bars, everything. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But no, this is like, well, I was like, it just, this would have been a monster of a movie because this is so much fun. I really think that Devon Sawa would be known more for this than he is for Final Destination, and I think he's known for Final
Destination. equal, I would say, because he was amazing in both roles.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love Final Destination. Those are those movies. Those are those movies that my husband will refuse to watch. And when I finally asked him why, he goes, they actually scare the shit out of me because he goes, it's showing me things in real life that could actually potentially kill me. And he goes, I don't like that. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I can see that. But it's like he's really, honestly, Devon Sawa is not bad in anything he does. I've really not seen, even that movie he's in with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I cannot remember for the life
Wild
of
Things.
But yeah,
Wild Things.
But like I can't remember.
I like that movie.
He's like good in it. Movie. He's good in that, and I'm like, and that's just not my type of movie. That is the teenage girls loving some.
It's a feel-good movie.
Yeah, it's the teenage heartthrob movie, and I'm like, I'm not into the teenage heartthrob thing, but and then he was in Casper and all that. He wasn't in Casper very long, but he was in Casper.
No, he was just the boy at the end when Casper's human. So, and it's one of his first roles. It's not obviously his introducing role, but it's one of his first roles. So,
yeah. And then Fnatic, the Fanatic, he is in there with John Travolta, and John Travolta in Fnatic I can't say he's handicapped. He's just not mentally all there. And he is obsessed with an action star who is played by Devon Sawa. And he just becomes increasingly obsessed with him. And he ends up stalking him and everything else. But Devon Sawa is kind of a douche. So it's kind of cool. But I
was gonna say I'll have to watch that one sometime too. So
yeah, and
another one to add to the list.
Yeah,
and my ever-growing list.
Yeah, and it's directed by Limp Bizkit's Fred Durst. So
nice.
Yeah, and he's actually does a job. There's only one continuity error in the whole thing. One continuity error. And it's like,
which is
there's a scene where two drug addicts kind of fight and run away or like kind of stop being friends, and then in the very next scene they're friends. So it's kind of
okay. It's almost like it was
very
minute.
Okay, it's very minute.
Okay,
but other than that, like but you can easily say, oh, they made up because it takes place the next day. It's like, oh, they made up the night before. Well, you can easily say that.
A deleted scene. We didn't see them make up.
Yeah, and the Fanatic is mostly John Travolta.
Yeah. Well, we should move it to the next segment of our episode, which would be to bring in our life experiences. And I had kind of you had brought up an idea, and I had kind of brought up an idea where my thought was thinking like the stupid things, what is like one of the dumbest things we've ever done with our friends, especially like back in high school era, like stupid shit we've done, or college era, I guess we could include as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I could do one like out of high. It would be college era, but I wasn't in college at the time. And of course,
that works too.
Of course, it involves Brandon. So like,
it has to involve Brandon.
Stupid shit. Because I mean, the way we met was ridiculous. Like we met in high school. We were reading the same book. We were on the same chapter. That's fine. But like afterwards, I was walking home from the bus, and I hear tires screeching, and I almost get hit by a fucking Grand Prix, and it's Brandon. He's like, yeah, what's up, man? And I'm like, oh my god, you almost killed me. And it turns out
what is your problem?
He lived right up the road from me. Like I lived here, he lived here. Like he was like, oh, but the stupid shit we did. We were in his, I think he was driving the Dodge Neon at the time. He may have been driving the Grand Prix, but I'm pretty sure it was the Neon. And we were just driving around. We used to drive around and try to get lost, or just drive around just to drive around. And we went to this state park kind of thing. And we were just driving around in the night, and we saw this dirt trail. We're like, hey, let's take this dirt trail. Cool. And we drive down it, and it's a bike trail. We didn't know it was a bike trail.
And you're driving on it.
Car driving on a road about this wide, and I was like, I have to pee, and I like kind of open my door, and it's a sheer 80-foot drop off, and I'm like, I don't have to pee, we're good. And we just had
I'll hold it.
Yeah, it took us about like an hour or two to drive through the whole thing. And we're just blasting mud vein, just like driving down it. We don't really care. We had to stop twice to pee, but it was just like it was stupid, but we used to do stupid crap like that. Bottle rocket
I'm
wars.
glad there were no bikes on that trail at the time.
This was real late. It was like 9 o'clock at night. So there was nothing. There was no way anyone was out there, but he ended up going back with his Xterra, which is an off-road vehicle, and he went back and he said he did it in about 5 minutes. So yeah.
So that was college era of, hey, let's take this road. This isn't a road. This is the bike.
There you go. There's distraction.
Distraction.
Yeah. Yeah. She's ready to go to the beach. What is the dumb thing you did?
Okay. So my stupid thing that I did back in the day would have been with the same friend that was the cutter. I'll just say her name. It's a very common name, but my best friend Sarah at the time. And I would have been 17. She would have been 16. Now, mind you, in the area I live, curfew is 17 and older. So I would have been perfectly fine. Sarah, on the other hand, was 16. And she was the type of person, she was always sneaking out, always going behind her parents' back. And of course, then she was always bitching and griping, like, why don't my parents trust me? And it's like, well, because you're doing it. And she goes, well, they already think I am, so I might as well do it. I'm like, okay, that's your life philosophy. Good job. So one of the nights that I was staying the night at her house, she had decided that she's like, I want to go hang out with these guys because they have the new Jackass movie. So this tells you how old this was. This was back when one of the Jackass films, actually, I think it was the first Jackass film.
Yeah.
And like I had told her, and because she had even asked her parents at the time, she's like, can we go over to their house and watch this movie? And of course, her mom's like, no, I'm not allowing you to go hang out with a bunch of guys at their house. So at midnight, Sarah had made plans. This was back even before like cell phones and before MySpace and Facebook. But we had, what was that? The instant messenger or whatever the hell that
AOL
shit was.
Instant Messenger.
Yes.
Yes.
So she was messaging one of the guys that we were meeting up with, and she made plans. So at midnight, we were supposed to sneak out of her house and go meet up with these guys, and they were picking us up at the park because she lived next to the park. So, mind you, we couldn't go out of any of her doors because her parents were the type that they had security locks. So what do we have to do? They have a storm cellar. So we'd sneak all the way down to the basement and go out the storm cellar. So sneaking around, running through her neighbor's yard so that we can get to the park. We get picked up by the one guy and go to their house. So in my head, I'm like, I'm just thinking we're going to hang out and we're just going to watch the movie. And that's how it started.
Yeah,
we're sitting there. We're sitting there, we're watching this Jackass movie, and I'm trying to remember the one guy's name. I can't even think of his name, but the one that was Jordan. I knew Jordan pretty well because we were in the same class. And I think the other guy's name was Dan. And Dan was actually like Jordan's cousin. And that's why I probably can't remember his name. And then the other guy was TJ. So we're all sitting there watching the movie. Everything's fine. We're laughing at Jackass. Well, all of a sudden, I noticed that Sarah and the other guy, TJ, are like, oh, I need help with something in this back room. Can you come help me, Sarah, with this thing? And it's like, of course, like, yeah, sure, I'll come help you, blah, blah, blah. I'm just sitting there watching the movie. All of a sudden, there's just that awkward moment while me and the two other guys are watching the movie. You can hear Sarah moaning from the other room. And I'm just sitting there like, and it dawns on me, and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. She came out here to hook up with this guy. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I feel really awkward. And I'm just staring at the movie like, do I pretend like nothing's happening? Yeah. All of a sudden, I see the other two guys, and they just look at each other. They look at the movie. They look at each other. And I'm like, don't look at them. Don't look.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and it's like you could totally hear Sarah and DJ having sex in the other room, and they come back and she fiercely tries to play it off like nothing happened, and she's like, oh, I hope your project is taken care of. And I'm just like, Jesus, fuck you.
No, this is why I don't want girls.
Story gets funnier though. Story gets funnier. So mind you, the movie gets done and we're like, okay, we need a ride back to the house. TJ, of course, getting his is like, no, you can walk.
Mhm.
I'm just like, and I'm like thinking shit, because I know Jordan doesn't have his license, so he can't drive us. And his cousin Dan was dropped off there. So TJ was literally our ride. And he's like, nah. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, good job, Sarah. He literally just had you here so he could have a hookup. He got his. And it is officially at that point in time, 2 a.m. in the morning, and Sarah's breaking curfew. I kept thinking, I'm like, our friend Amanda lives up the street. I'm just gonna go over to her house and just stay the night, because it wouldn't matter if I showed up at 2 a.m. Her dad would have gotten up, but I'm like, here, have some hot chocolate. I'm gonna get you some PJs and you can go stay the night with Amanda.
Yeah.
Now I decided I'm gonna be the friend and I'm gonna sneak around town with Sarah. Now, mind you, Jordan lives on the other side of town from where Sarah lives in town. So I remember us going through like so many people's backyards, going through the alleys. It's just so that we could sneak through town, because it's a small town, but it's big enough that, it's about, I want to say 3,000 people. So it's big enough that we had a couple of cops and they have nothing better to do in a small town. So you have to go through all the little back ways. And I remember us when we finally get back to her house, sneaking through all of her neighbors' yards and then sneaking back into the storm cellar, having to belly crawl up the stairs so they don't squeak so that we can get back to her bedroom on the second floor. I just crawl into bed. And she's like, oh, so tonight was a lot of fun and everything. And I'm just like, good night, Sarah. She's like, you didn't have any fun? And I'm just like, good night.
Mm-mm.
That was the beginning of basically the end of our friendship, because I mean there was several other things after that where, I mean, it should have been my red flag.
Yep.
And that kind of shit, but that's also one of the reasons why I would never say anything to her in a situation like that. Like a normal person probably would have chewed her out and reamed her ass, but me, I'm just like, if I say anything, she's going to start cutting herself, and I don't want that to happen. So
No. I don't know. This is why if I ever have kids, I don't want girls ever, because this is
hey,
like.
I was a
boring.
good child. I just got drug along for everything. So,
But you still went, and you still could have been in trouble. Like, I don't want to have to worry
actually,
about all
the
that.
best part was I wouldn't have been in trouble, because I would have told my parents, and my mom would have been like, "Oh, you were with Sarah." Okay.
No, that's not the trouble I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trouble with your mom and dad. I'm talking about trouble.
Oh, with the guys.
Yes.
The point to put into context here is that Jordan and I were actually good, decent friends. So him and I were never that type, and he actually was dating one of our friends at the time. So him, I was not worried about. And TJ, I could have whipped his ass. Like, seriously.
That's why I don't want. That's why I don't want boys either, because boys are fucking awful. We're like,
they think what they're peeing.
Let's just call over some chicks and see if we can't get laid. And then when the ones are stupid enough to do it, then yeah.
And then just leave them high and dry. Like, now you have to like run across town knowing that we live across, or she lives across town. I mean, that was a shitty dude. And she still would hook up with him several other times. And it's like, God, you're dumb.
Oh yeah, but that's also like 80% of women. Like a lot of times, even when they treat you like shit, you still want to hang around them. That's just that's because the bad boy thing.
The bad boy or the bad girl.
That's why I never hooked up a whole lot. I never hooked up a whole lot in high school, because I was never the bad boy. Like I was always that nice guy that it's like, whenever the pretty girl's all used up in her 30s, that's when she's going to come find me. I'm that guy. Like, it's like, yeah. What?
Used up in her 30s. God, that's young. I would say like 50s or 60s.
Yeah, but in the 30s, the popular girls, the really pretty popular girls, they get used up.
Oh, they don't age well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Now I got you.
they do not age well at all. The pretty girls, like I learned that in my high school, the pretty girls now, like the ones who were popular and pretty, they are not popular and pretty anymore. They are all, most of them are on crack. Like it's crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's the turn for the worst, like quite literally.
Yeah, and it's like people, like I've seen a few of them at, like we have a flea market that comes to town a lot in where I live, and it's like it's actually a big deal because it's not like a flea market where everything is just disgusting and cheap. It's actually good shit, and everyone comes to this. I'm talking like thousands and thousands of people at this flea market, and I will run into old high school friends and stuff like that, and it's like I'll go there by myself.
And high school enemies.
Yes, I'll go there by myself. I'll go there with Brandon. I'll go there with everybody, with Michaela. But a lot of times I would go by myself, and I'd run into some high school girl that was like so pretty and everything, and it's like, oh, Darren, whoa, hey, you aged well, and it's like, hey, you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, and I would say it too. I'm like, well, you didn't. I'm going this way, and you're like, oh,
I mean,
not
karma.
Yeah, it's not mean, it's honesty. It's like, yo, you look used up, like you had a couple trains run on you in the past. Yeah. Over and over.
Their face.
Yeah. But and like the guys are still like, we have a lot of those guys here that are just like, oh yeah, I threw that touchdown in the big game in high school. And I'm like, you do know that
glory days.
Yeah, you do know that high school football is fucking meaningless. It is fucking meaningless. Like, go to college and play football. That's not meaningless.
Then I'll be impressed.
Like, go to the NFL, play football. That's not meaningless. And I can tell you that not one motherfucker from my high school went on to the NFL. It's like, we didn't have anybody like that. We didn't have anybody that wanted to be a star in college.
We've had two.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The sad part is they only played like a couple games and then they were pulled, but they can still say they were there and that they did it. So
we didn't even have any college stars come out of my high school. We had nothing. Like, Powell High School is what it's called, and it was just a bunch of fucking nothing. Like, I think we have some now. Like, we have some star athletes now, but back when I was in high school, no, we got our poop pushed in every fucking game. Like, we didn't win a single game whenever I went, and it was like, but it was all right. Yeah, it was bad, but
I can't give away my school name because I really don't live that far from it, and I'm still not going to give my general area.
I live walking distance from mine. I just don't care.
Have no fear. You have no fear, and me, it's like I don't need that. So, but my school, well, this might even still give it. No, it shouldn't.
I live on Gardner Lane. Come at me. I don't care.
My high school, we won state championship like several times, but I mean, you have a small town that's full of a bunch of farm boys that's all they do is football. So yeah, but a lot of them went to college football and did very, very well. Still the typical ones where they've gone downhill, and it's like you run into them, and it's like theirs was one where it's like the girl, I didn't even recognize her. And this was back when I had just gotten out of college, was working at a local grocery store, and I was the night manager. And when I was working, she came through and she started talking to me like she knew me. And I'm just staring at her like, and finally she looked at me and she's like, do you not remember who I am? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't. And she told me her name. I even went to church with this girl too. And my jaw dropped. And I kind of felt that after I had done that, where it was that shock value of, oh shit. And I must have had the face like, oh, I'm sorry. Just like, but it's like, it is. It's one of those things where it's like, God, you were so terrible in high school. So, I mean, it kind of feels like poetic justice that life kind of came back and bit you in the ass. So,
Dude, I've had, I've been
you've had a
out.
lot of those.
I've been out and I was out watching my friend play some music, and I walked in the door and he got on the mic. He said, "Darren's in the house." And I was like, and I heard Darren, a girl come over there and hug me and everything. And I'm like,
And you're
"Hey."
like, who are
And I was
you?
like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she's just like, "You have no idea who I am." And I'm like, "No, not one clue." And I dated this girl and I had no fucking clue who she was. I was like, "I don't know who you are." And she's I don't even remember her name.
See, that's even that Shayla, you said?
Yeah, she's like, "But it's Shayla." And I was like, "Who?" She's like, Shayla, Sarah's
We did it.
her. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
"I'm sorry,
Oh my God.
I've had like amnesia."
I mean, that's a way to play it off. Be like, well, you've also had several concussions. So, I mean, the amnesia could be there. I don't know.
Who knows? But I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. I don't care. I mean, I was with an ex at the time, so it was just like, it was kind of good that I didn't remember her, because it was like, and the thing was, I didn't remember her because I remembered this girl 40 pounds heavier ago, and now she's 40 pounds lighter, complexion is fantastic, and she looks amazing. And I'm like, I would remember you. And it was just like, no.
So it was the opposite. She looked better than what she did.
Yeah. She looked way better than what she did. And but I'm
So
like,
that might have made your girlfriend at the time feel a little awkward.
oh yeah, dude. She I did not get any that night, and she didn't talk to me for about 2 days. And I was like, but she was also extremely jealous. Like she was a very jealous woman. And I've never understood that. I don't understand how people can be jealous of me. Like I don't it's not like I'm pulling in ass from all angles. It doesn't work like that. I've got one, and that's it. There's no one else flirting with me. There is no one else trying to get with me. People tell me all the time, "Oh my God, this girl's flirting with you." No, she's not. No one is flirting with me. No one is trying to.
That's when everyone's gonna come out and start posting on your stuff. I'm flirting with you. This is me flirting.
Then go for it. Have at it. Because here's a fun fact for all you ladies that are watching. My wife doesn't care. She's not jealous in the least, because she knows I ain't leaving her. She knows I'm very happy where I'm at. So, like, flirt away, and I'll flirt right back with you, because I do it all the damn time anyway. So just ask this one right here. Just ask this one right here. She'll tell you.
I like how you're pointing to.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's this way, but like, yeah, I was like, ask her, because you should read some of the text messages I sent her. Like,
well, and then you have my hubby, where it's like a lot of people are like, isn't he? And I'm like, he's the one that's taking the photos. What do you think?
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
And then I've had one person be like, "Does her husband care that you flirt with her?" And I'm like, "Have you read some of our tweets back and forth? I mean, that one about you wanting to cosplay," and he's like, "Oh, none of the blood would be going to my head." And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna make this awkward. Me either." Like, dude, that's like, he doesn't care. He knows that I'm just freaking playing around. So he trusts me enough for that. So I'm like,
and he's given so many hints now of who he is. It's kind of funny.
Yes.
So eventually it's gonna come out and it'll be funny.
Yeah, and then everyone will be like, oh, this explains a lot. So yeah, but okay, so next week it's your run. What are we doing?
I think we're going down the list of basically everything that we had on the survey now at this point, unless we're doing bad movies. But I think we've had enough people that want us to go through all those movies because we brought them up. But my problem is, it's like I because he's been with us from the very get-go, from the very beginning, watching us. Our buddy Jackie, or Evil Toast, however you want to call.
Yeah.
I really want to do Mimic, and I mean it's technically one of my favorite films. So it's like I really want to do Mimic, and I want to do it for Jackie as well, since he loves that movie just as much as I do. So
well, then you know what my next one's going to be. Well, maybe.
why?
Maybe.
Why? What is the next one?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to watch that one right now. I could do. I don't know. I'm stuck between like Event Horizon or maybe Bride of Chucky or something like that. I don't know. Something silly, but I don't know. But
I'm for Event Horizon as well. Yeah. That is an excellent film. So
all right, but so Mimic on the next one, and I will not be back until Thursday, so I'll have to. And then Friday, I believe I have a show I'm going to go to, so it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to probably watch it late Friday or late Thursday. So yeah, got me and the Laz Master. We're gonna. We have a wrestling show that we really want to go to. That is all of our dudes, all of our indie dudes in one freaking show, and we're
so totally worth it. Yeah,
we're so excited. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be great. But I'm hoping we get to go to that. But all right, so that would be that's what Mimic next. So that's Guillermo del Toro. I love me some Guillermo del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that right. But all right, well, I think we're gonna hit the beat.
How good I am with names,
on and ready to go. She's looking hot and sexy, and now she's staring at me. She's been sitting here the entire time.
I'm not losing.
You might lose a titty. You might lose a titty. She's saying that her bikini is gonna fall off and her titty's gonna fall out.
Well, there you go. So
I thought that was gonna happen to yours.
No, mine are pretty solid in here.
All right.
I'd probably lose the wings before that, but I will bid you all adieu then, so that DC can go enjoy his time on the beach with his hot wife, Michaela. And so thank you for joining us on another episode. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, or even leave a comment, because any interaction that we have helps us on this little podcast of ours. And you can find me on Charcy Lux on my Twitter, or on Charcy87 for my Instagram. DC, where can they find you?
Crap. What is it called? Death Curse Pod on Twitter.
On Twitter.
I have an Instagram, Death Curse Podcast, but I never freaking use it. So
you can still follow them
Twitter,
there if you
Twitter
want.
Twitter will be where it's at.
So thank you again for joining us on our. Did you freeze again?
No.
Okay.
It's very still.
Thank you. Thank you
right.
for joining us on another little channel of horrors, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Okay.